Oh, Jesus Christ. Our ancestors, they came with the horses. To get to Riga, it took 100 kilometers, it took 2 days, and that means that you cannot go faster. And that's important thing. So you need to stop, to socialize, and then to go to the next place. So you cannot drive, like just put the fuel and drive some 800 kilometers because you need to do it. It's unhuman. When you need to go from point to point and start to think that I will need to stop here, I will need to recharge. And by the way, maybe I can get to know somebody, get to see how they live here. So it's better for the communication between the people, because this communication nowadays is lost mostly. Let's go to collect some mushrooms. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is airplane. 100. 100 in 2 seconds. That's what we thought about. Yeah. Go to the forest and collect something, it opens so many doors in our brain. And we are collectors and we are hunters. That's what we became of. This is a World Cup in mushroom picking. Very beautiful.
It's like gravity doesn't exist anymore, you just do whatever you imagine. Just go and feel the wind and throw your body around, like, yeah.
Once you get the feeling of it, how the wind works and how it affects your body, you can just use it unlimited. We had a couple movies. The first one, which was a couple of years ago, was with Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible. Tom was actually doubling Hollywood stars.
This is so cool, like this is really cool. Like the brakes is so enjoyable, really. Like I could only like drive like this to Riga, like, you know, just accelerating and braking. What I enjoy is that we don't have lots of people in our country.
A lot of trails and I would say a lot of places that are untouched.
Yeah,
like people haven't ruined it.
We traveled with a car and we stopped and we saw these ruins. It was ruins in that time. And we just came in and immediately we understood that this is our place. Industrial Soviet type pumping station. I fulfilled my old dream. My best book in my childhood was Mystery Island by Jules Verne. It's about Captain Nemo and Nautilus submarine, and here we put some imaginated part of this submarine made from stainless steel, just to contrast with house which is covered by cotton steel, which rusts and stays nice brown.
Loft living, it is the way of the way of living. And nowadays people, really creative people, try to live in these unusual conditions. To live here, that is outstanding. That's not traditional. Traditional houses are at the waterfront, and you have these small windows and you go over the dunes to the sea, but here, sea is here. I want to die here, I said already.
This dramatic change is what happened in Latvia, in former Soviet Union, of course made my life very, very interesting. Because in 1990 we regained independence and I became Director General for the Department for Foreign Economic Relations in Cabinet of Ministers. I became Minister for State Reforms. I became Prime Minister. Man had to change his life in 5 years and then start something else. And I actually followed this rule. Latvians are quite calm and we like guests. Not maybe so much as Georgians, but still welcoming.
The Latvian landscape and wood, to go into to see the sea, to go into wood, to look at the sky. And our color is gray. 1,000 shades of gray. Sorry.
This radio telescope was built in 1964. It was built for Soviet Union Army purposes, mostly for observations for another military object and also for space observations.
It's more like a submarine, because most of the parts, including the staircases, were borrowed from USSR time warships and submarines. For example, the system which gets this telescope moving is actually a gun turret from a ship with a cannon. Instead of a cannon, we mount up an antenna and we have a radio telescope. This astronomy research is actually more of a global thing. An international team linking these telescope sites in network can do this kind of research. It maybe doesn't solve anything in particular for people right here in country, but it definitely helps for Latvia to integrate in global research teams.
This place might be a sort of a goal to prove that this is a great place and people should come, enjoy everything. I mean, maybe us, maybe the country, maybe the local area. It's a great place. This place was in some ways built on a goodwill. You can come here and you can drink a tea, honey, and bread in winter. I left Latvia in 1979. I was 17 years old. I was getting into trouble with my thinking. I was kind of radical, so I was running into problems and troubles with the local authorities that are basically communist. In North America, I was becoming a better skier. Then I was getting better. Then I made a national team. Then I quit the school. Then I went to Olympics.
Came from Latvia about 10 years ago. What was it like getting out of that country? Freedom.
He showed up at a race and we're like, who is this crazy Latvian?
He was one of the young ones coming up that we older ones had to watch because he was doing really well.
I was starting to feel really strange and I passed out on the street. And then it turned out that my Olympics were over.
We have our own flag now. We have our own anthem.
Sometimes in your life, there are just these things. It's like a puzzle, you know. It comes together, and maybe you work for it. Maybe you challenge it. I don't know. But these are the times in your life, and when these things come together, you just do it.
Everybody goes across the continent, so we decided to go the other way, from north to south.
You see the country and you meet people, you meet rednecks, you meet cowboys on the way, all kinds of people. I'm very proud of my country, of course. I do not agree with a lot of things, and I just explained why. I think we could be smarter. Latvians were hard-working people. Some damage was done by Soviet Union, and now the modern times, that also. Take me to the next level. Wow. Hey, it's clean. I'm not used to sitting in the clean cars. Next time I prepare my road better for you.
You ready?
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, this is fast. It's unbelievable.
Why I'm a chef? I love food. I like to cook very much. My first profession was conductor of choir, dirigent, and but I couldn't finish the school. I was kicked out because I was a bit punk. In culinary, you read the recipes and books, and if you play music, you read the notes. And then after you read all the books and all notes, and you can play your own music, or you can cook your own dishes. The Latvian food, if we talk about Latvian food, well, there is some interesting combinations. How we like to eat cucumber, fresh cucumber with honey. I'm not sure that anywhere else people are eating fresh cucumber with honey, but we do. We were under so many different kings through the centuries. and that influence comes from, I mean, Germany, Poland, Russia, and yeah, Sweden.
This is still a land of a big opportunity. It is kind of like, you know, wild, wild west, where you go and you can build things from scratch. But it's changing quickly. We still have a lot of Soviet mentality, so it's not really that simple. But if you kind of understand how things work, it still is, I think, by big part, a land of big opportunity.
We have absolutely beautiful nature. We have a lot of empty spaces because on this land we live only less than 2 million people. It's 64,000 square kilometers. It's 3 times bigger as Belgium, let's say.
The nature is like absorber of all our instabilization, all the stresses, everything. You just go to the forest and calm down. And once you enter the nature, you just go out back in another shape, renewed.
When Rolex said, "Would you like to be in our mentor program?" I was like, what am I mentoring in? I recognize the importance of mentors in my own life. The really formative one for me was my 8th grade English teacher. He saw how much restless energy I had and how to guide it.
How can I build this trust up? I would like to do every genre. I would like to do a comedy one day and a horror film and even a musical sometime. I always say that I refuse to be one thing, and this is great for that.
Like the stages, and you can give me your feedback also from your actor side.
I'm interested in a lot of different things, and I do a lot of different things. I write musicals, but I just directed my first movie, and I'm writing songs for several different movies. So I'm interested in folks who are really interested in film, because that's where I'm headed. One of the things that was so exciting about Agustina was she makes everything art. She manages to see a poetry in the everyday.
I'm really obsessed with like the details and the image and how it composes. Something that I need to learn right now, is letting that go and really focusing on characters and their emotional journey.
The thing that I try to be helpful with is what's the thing you want to communicate. And really, as an outside observer, I can tell you how close or far you are or what I'm getting from what you're giving me. New York was not in a good way.
First one, I was still very insecure.
He said, don't overdo it. Sometimes the simplest things can be the most powerful. This is from the voice of someone who has been creating things way longer than I have.
You can get at the truth in a really simple way. There's nothing better.
Earlier, I believed that the most amount of time you give to something, the better it's gonna be. I realized that you just rather need to give enough space to what you're doing in order for intuition to still be fresh. And that, I think, it's a thing about me that shifted with this experience.
Take one, Mark.
None of it's wasted time. I find the interesting artists are always bringing different pieces of the world onto that stage or into that screen. And so I encourage Agustina to chase what you're passionate about. It will come back to your work. It can't help but bleed in.
I really introduced myself.
I'm really excited about the future. I just know that I'm gonna keep fighting for these spaces and try to be the best creator that I can possibly be.
Absence and distance reveal which memories are those to cherish. Delight, the perfect racing line, a close call, the very blink of an eye that was the difference between failure and success. The clearer the details, the more vivid the remembrance. Up to that point, when you close your eyes, it makes you relive your past. We strive to create future memories.
First of all, I grew up about 2 miles away from this very building, so it's really nice to be back home, but it's also nice to see where they build the aircraft that we feature so heavily in the film that we're so proud of. You know, it's really nice to see your work appreciated, and it's also really nice to actually appreciate the work that goes into making these aircraft that together keep us all safe. It's an amazing piece of technology that is also, you know, run by incredibly talented people.
We was very impressed to meet with the shop guys on the shop floor, how the airplane's put together. Everybody comes down here, they're amazed to see how many little pieces it takes to build a complete fighter.
He's a super nice guy, and you know, he's down to earth, and he's a local boy because he loves the Blues and the Cardinals, so.
it's just it's incredibly emotional for me to be here with people from my hometown and showing this thing that we're all so proud of, and that so many people that work for Boeing made happen. I mean, that's another big part of it. I hope you have as much fun watching it as we did making it. Thanks for having me, you guys.
What I tend to look for when I go to places are things that are visually appealing. When you walk down the sand dunes here in St. Lucia, just thinking of the old shipwrecks or the explorers, the first thing they saw was these long beaches and impenetrable forest. They still look exactly the same. I can't imagine there are many places in the world where you can see tons of things in one day. I want to pinch my arm and say, this can't be true. I'm in the middle of this. I think the uniqueness is that it's diverse. You could peel off layer after layer and you'll find more and more things. It's all here for you to just be part of.
January 12, 1991. Just days before a UN deadline, Congress authorizes President George H.W. Bush to use force to expel Iraq from Kuwait.
The action taken by the United States Congress today is a very important step in hopefully getting Saddam Hussein to realize what he's up against.
Days later, an American-led coalition launches Operation Desert Storm, which drives Saddam Hussein's troops from Kuwait. 1945. In the final months of World War II, Soviet forces begin a huge offensive against Nazi Germany in Eastern Europe. 1932. Hattie Caraway of Arkansas becomes the first woman elected to the U.S. Senate. Caraway wins a special election to fill the last few months of her late husband's term. 1976. In Britain, mystery writer Agatha Christie, whose works include Murder on the Orient Express, dies at age 85. And 1971.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played. Songs that made the hit parade.
All in the Family premieres on CBS. The sitcom breaks new ground in depicting serious topics on TV, becoming wildly popular. Today in history, January 12th. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.
Welcome back in our studio, and in today's news,